What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It is your boy, Coach D Brown, former big leaguer, former first round pick with the Kansas City Royals. And listen, man, we are starting this week off right. All right. We hope everybody had a great new year. Hope you ain't eat too much. Hope you ain't, go out there and breathe too hard on everybody. I hope everybody kind of had a good time at the crib. Getting they sip on, they drink on, they eat on, enjoying some family and not out and about too damn much. All right. We still in a pandemic out here. All right. So, but we are back and back with a vengeance. And man, we coming hard, man. We going back to the D1s, man. I know last couple of coaches, we had Maryland Eastern Shore head coach. We had, some JCs. And, man, we going back hard to the D1 side, man. We taking it up north, man. We going to the big. Is it a big north? I know it's no, it's Toronto. Yeah, but it's something like that, right? We're gonna find out more about it, man. So, but without further ado, man, we got Eastern Michigan head coach Eric Ruth, all right, joining us today. What's going on, Coach? How you doing, family?
Hey, I'm doing well, D. Thanks for having me. Happy to be on this podcast with you, and glad to be here.
No doubt about it, man. So, listen, I appreciate you coming on, man. And like I said, we had a little bit of break. I haven't been on since Thursday myself. So, I come back and I told you guys I'll come back with, coming hard. So this week we got a few coaches coming on and Coach Ruth is over here starting it off right. All right. So we're going to learn about Eastern Michigan today. All right. So without further ado, Coach, man, all my guests, they know what the deal is, man. So every time somebody comes on, man, we got to take it back from the beginning, man. So I like to hear more about, Coach Ruth, you know what I'm saying? Your where you from, your playing career to where you are now at head coach at Eastern Michigan.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a long story. Just a baseball family. My dad's played in the big leagues and was in professional baseball for 40 plus years. My uncle played in the big leagues too for about 15, 16 years as well. So just a really big baseball family. I'm originally from Paducah, Kentucky.
Okay.
I went to high school there. That's where my parents still live. That's where a lot of my aunts and uncles still live. And played there, grew up there. And just like everyone's dream, you wanted to play at the next level. So back then when I was growing up in high school, we played Legion ball. So right. Legion was really popular where I was from. So we played Legion. And your goal after high school is to get to the next level. So for me, didn't get a lot of looks out of high school. I went to the junior college in St. Catherine's Junior College in Bardstown, Kentucky. Played 1 year of junior college baseball there. And then from there, I had the opportunity to play at Michigan State University. So I played at Michigan State, played 3 years there. One of your speakers earlier, Coach Boss, was my head coach my senior year. Nice. So I had a tremendous opportunity to get a chance to play for him and that staff. Played 3 years there, was drafted as a junior by the Tigers in the 46th round, turned it down, wanted to come back my senior year, finish off my degree, and then get the program rolling with Coach Boss. Came back my senior year, drafted in the 18th round, and played 3 years professionally with the Tigers organization. So I got up to high A my last year. I didn't get as far as you, getting up to the big leagues at age 20. I wasn't that fortunate, but I can honestly say that I gave it my all, and there's a blast playing at that level. You get to meet a lot of different people. You get to share some really cool experiences that you go back and you kind of look and you still maintain those relationships with those players, those coaches, the teammates that you had, the people, the players that you played against. So that was a lot of fun. Got done with my playing career about 25, and then trying to figure out what I was going to do. Got my degree in business, got my master's in business.
Nice.
Coach Boss actually gave me a call a couple days after I got released and said, "Hey, how about you get into coaching?" And like I said, my family's been in baseball a long time, and you kind of always maybe thought of that once your playing career was over. But when you're playing, you want to focus on where your feet are and just playing. Be as good of a player as you can be, and kind of let the chips fall where they may lie. So Coach Boss gave me that opportunity to come back and coach at the Division I level. That was my first coaching opportunity. Coached there for 2 years. Then I came over to Eastern Michigan with Coach Mark Vandermeed. He was the head coach, and he brought me with him. He was also at Michigan State, so he was my pitching coach. I was able to work with them on the catching side of things when I was a player, and then transitioned over with him as an assistant. and then has been coaching here at Eastern Michigan for 7 years, was an assistant for 3, and now I've been a head coach for going on my 4th year here. So that's a little bit of some background about myself, but always love talking baseball, always love catching up with guys that are in the game, and always love helping answer some questions with anybody in the whole recruiting process and trying to get to that next level.
Good deal, man. All right, man. I love learning about. Man, I promise you look every bit of like you still need to be on the field, man. You know what I'm saying, man? So
I wish I was. I wish I was. I think some days my knees may not feel the same, but any day you can put on a uniform and you be at the baseball field, I think is a good day.
No doubt about it, man. What years did you were you up there in with the Tigers organizations?
So I was in the Tigers organizations from 2009 to 2012.
Okay. Yeah, you're a little too. Yeah, you.
Yeah, I mean, you get to the big 20 at what 2006, 7, maybe.
Yeah, I was 98. 98 was my first year. I got called up at 20. Yeah, 98.
So, yeah. While you were in the big leagues, I was playing you in MLB The Show or a video game or had the baseball cards.
Nah, it's all love, man. I was trying to. I was like, man, maybe he made it squeeze into a couple of my boys over there, but nah, they were long gone. But
no, I wish maybe if you're rehabbing or something one of those years.
You should straight Michigan, huh? I mean, how's this? You know what I'm saying? Michigan State, you know what I'm saying? Eastern Michigan, drafted by the Tigers, you know, like that's pretty cool, man. So 4 years at Eastern Michigan, man, and you know, running your own program. Let's talk about Eastern Michigan, man. Obviously I've heard of the school. I know it's D1, and you know, between Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, and Western Michigan, I know it's you know, I want to know the difference. I know Michigan's a big old state with a, you know, good competition out there, man. But where is Eastern Michigan located, and what conference do you guys play in?
Yeah, Eastern Michigan's located in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Ypsilanti is about 5 miles from Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor is where the University of Michigan is. So it's just right down the road. I haven't done the research, but we're probably the closest to Division I teams or programs in the whole country. I know North Carolina and Duke get a lot of love with being so close, but we're literally 5-10 minutes away from each other. I think North Carolina and Duke are maybe around 30-45 minutes, but we're right beside each other, and it's approximately about 45 minutes from downtown Detroit. So getting to a Tigers game, a Lions game, a Wings game, really easy for our players and students that go to Eastern Michigan right there. And then we're in the MAC conference. So we're in the Mid-American Conference. Like I said, we have got Central Michigan, you got Western Michigan, you got Miami, Kent State, Ball State, Northern Illinois, Ohio, Toledo, Bowling Green, Akron. So there's 11 baseball schools in the MAC, and you know, we are one of the members in the MAC conference.
Yeah, man. I want to hear more about, you know, we have Northern Illinois. We had Coach K from Northern Illinois. He's been on.
Okay.
And is that the only MAC school we've had on? I think so. So you're the second Michigan and the second MAC school, all right, that's been on. But just like I told Coach K, man, you know, you guys, from what I know when it comes to, you know, the Big MAC conference, I know you guys for football, you know, really good football competition, man. But I really want to know what's up with this baseball side of things, man. So tell me a little about the conference as far as competition, you know, type of scheduling that goes on with you guys at, you know, and you know, how's the brand of baseball? How's the overall competition? I think Ball State too, right? You guys, did you say Ball State?
Ball State's in there as well, correct. Yep.
Yeah, I remember back, you know, pretty much when you were probably just entering college, they had a nice run with a couple of first round picks themselves, right?
Absolutely. They had a couple. So like you mentioned, you know, when you're talking recruiting and everything, a lot of the student athletes that you're talking to know about the Power Five. So you got the bigger conferences, but then in the Mid-American Conference, you know, your maybe mid-major conferences, you know, we get a lot of exposure because, like you said, with football obviously plays on ESPN, so that gets us some exposure. At least see some facilities here or there, or maybe connect with a team or a color, or maybe a certain style of play, or whatever the case may be. So I think that's a great opportunity for us to kind of extend our reach of just, all right, what's Eastern Michigan about? And the rest of the schools in the MAC can kind of say that as well. But like you mentioned, this is strong history of baseball within this conference. Just a handful of years ago, Kent State played in the College World Series. So you're talking about a mid-major program playing in the final 8 spots in the nation. And if you just look at Eastern Michigan, the track record, we've won a national title at the NAI level in 1970. We've been to the College World Series in 75 and 76. 76, we were runners-up. So we were the second team in the country in 1976, and that was the most northern Midwest school to play for a championship until Michigan just did it a couple years ago. So just a lot of history. We have a lot of guys that have gone on to play professional baseball. I think we have 108 guys that have played professional baseball, and we have 16 guys that have played in the major leagues. So, when you hear about Eastern Michigan, you may think of some of the other schools in our state. You talk about University of Michigan or Michigan State, but there's just a strong history of the program, and it's really cool to get to know that as a head coach, because you don't know that when you're playing against them as a player, and you don't get to know that when you're coaching against them a little bit. But once you get to dive a little bit deeper into the program, it's really cool to kind of break it down and see guys like Bob Welch, who's a big leaguer, Bob Ochinko, who's a big leaguer, Matt Shoemaker, who's currently in the big leagues, Sterling Sharp, that's currently in the big leagues, and then we have another guy, Sam Delaplane, that's in AAA this past year. He was just added to the 40-man roster. So we potentially could have 3 guys in the big leagues going into this year, 2011 or 2021, which would be really cool coming from Eastern Michigan.
Good deal, man. Whoa, all right. That's why I love learning, man. I love bringing you guys on, man, because you get to learn about, these programs. And, like I said, I'm a big, I like to think of myself as a big sports fan, especially from the football side. But man, it's good to hear, man. I know you guys are rolling like that, man. So
yeah, you're from New York, correct?
Yeah.
So when you went through the minor league system, did you ever stop in Michigan to play at like a West Michigan or a Lansing?
No, I missed we were in Lansing when I actually skipped Lansing, and that was right when I think the first year or two that place opened up, and it was like rock, and everybody used to tell me how much they love playing there. I used to hear all these stories, but yeah, I went from Northwest League Spokane to High A Carolina League, Wilmington. So I skipped Lansing, but all my boys that play, I think they won the championship, and we're going back 20-something years, Lord. But yeah, so I missed the Midwest League, to answer your question. Yeah,
gotcha. But yeah, Michigan's beautiful. It's a beautiful state. It's a beautiful time to be in. You get the 4 seasons, so if you don't like the snow, it may not be for you. But the good thing is, when it is snowing out early in the spring, we're heading south to play games.
And that's what I want to talk about, man. So from 2 things, scheduling aspect of it, but let's start from recruiting. I mean, like you said, it's sleeper wise. There's a lot of great, ball players I've known personally from the state of Michigan, and then you have some big time, like you said, that's 4, 5 out the gate, and I'm probably missing some. You got, like you said, you got Eastern Michigan, Central, Western, obviously Michigan and Michigan State. That's 5 big time, schools right there in the state. D1 wise, man. So as far as competition and the recruiting side of things, are you kind of in just the state of Michigan recruiting wise, or do you branch out and pluck players from all over the country?
Yeah, there's actually one more Division I school in the state, and that's Oakland. So there's 6 schools in the state that are Division I, but we try to really hammer home the state of Michigan. We try to get the guys in our backyard to stay in Michigan. Now, a lot of times the best players are going to kind of go all over. So it's our job to go out and find them, number 1, and then try to keep them in the state, number 2. That way you can develop those relationships with the high school coaches, the summer ball coaches, maybe former players that you played with that are now coaches. They can give you a recommendation, and you can kind of build that relationship that you had before. So originally, once the recruiting process starts, let's hammer home. Let's hammer the guys that are local. Let's get the guys that's just 10 minutes down the road. Let's get the guys that 30 minutes down the road. Recruiting, you see it vary guy by guy. You see some guys that want to go further away. You see some guys that want to stay closer to home. So you try to make sure you're getting the right guy, but you always want to take care of what you're doing with right in your backyard. So trying to start to take care of that in the state of Michigan. Then for the longest time, Michigan and Ohio had in-state tuition. So the next part of it was, let's get a bunch of guys from Ohio. If we have in-state tuition in Ohio, that can be kind of like our calling card and something that separates us maybe for some other schools that financially we can offer a really extremely good package just based on where they're located. Since the last 3 or 4 years, now anywhere in the whole country is in-state tuition. So we've kind of expanded that Michigan-Ohio branch to somewhere more in the Midwest. We've got guys from Indiana. We've got guys from PA. We've got guys from Illinois. We got guys kind of from all over the country. And then from there, you're kind of just finding off, all right, what's that last little bit that you need with your program, right? You need the left-handed pitcher. Do you need the big power arm? Do you need the big speed? Do you need, everyone needs arms, but do you need like a bullpen arm? Do you need a guy that maybe throws from a little bit lower angle, a little bit lower slot? So to answer your question, we'll go wherever in the country to find guys. Our bread and butter is going to be a little bit more in the Midwest because, again, those are the relationships that we have really close with the high school coaches, the summer ball coaches, and then let's expand from that. I'm a really big advocate, kind of like we mentioned before, for players at a junior college level. I think the junior college players, there's a lot of grit and fire and determination with those. I see it because I was once one of those players. I remember in that recruiting process at a high school, hey, man, I would have loved to have gone to this school or that school. But your only option, the option is, go to the junior college. And then you kind of grind your way. You kind of have that different personality where, it may be Vans. You may only get one T-shirt. You may kind of do this. You may do that. But those are the guys that they don't care. They just want to be on the field. And when they're on the field, they're going to compete against whoever. They don't need, the spotlight. They don't need the attention. They just want to play baseball.
This is I need to get one of those like DJ bullhorns when a big hit is about to come on, because when you say you play junior college, I just wanted to be like, here's another one. You know what I'm saying? That's why I became a big advocate just from having you guys on. I'm talking about D1 coaches, ex big league friends of mine that was coming on the show, and then everybody started at a D1. I mean, at a JUCO, and you're just. I ain't gonna say you just at a run in the mill, but you're like one of many guys that started there, and you got drafted and played, professionally, and out of obviously you went to JUCO then to a D1, but I'm like, I think that's dope, man. I just to have you guys on and share it, because I was just on the phone today with a dad, and we were talking schools and stuff with his kid, and we're he was from Texas, and they were talking about. The JUCO. I was talking about JUCO, how much I'm an advocate for JUCOs, and I was like, I hate when kids look down on JUCOs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn. You know what I'm saying? Just from having these conversations with you. Why do you think? I know we're gonna talk Eastern Michigan and your D1 program, but just like you said, you love JUCOs, and you say that grit, that fire that these guys have. Why? Have you ever suggested? In the recruiting cycle, like kids that you might have liked, have you ever, told a kid like you may want to go to JUCO route yourself? Have you ever done that before?
Absolutely, multiple times. This game of baseball is going to humble you, right? You're going to go 4 for 4 today. You feel really good. The next game, the second game, a doubleheader, 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts in the air in the field, and you're talking to yourself about, man, I stink at this game. So you kind of have that taste in you where it's like, all right. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. And then the thing that I like to watch is I like to watch the draft, and then I like to see it 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You see guys that get drafted in the first round, can't get out of A-ball. You get guys that are undrafted that get to the big leagues and play 10 years in the big leagues. You have guys that are Hall of Famers and they go past the 10th round. So it's like, why does that happen? And it's going to continue to happen. It's not just something that is a pre-COVID thing or happens before, the social media boom. But it's just because this game of baseball is so hard. It's so hard, number one. And again, it's going to humble you where you got to have a lot of grit. You got to have a lot of determination. If you think it's going to be easy, you chose the wrong sport, because even the best pitchers in the world, now, if you are that first rounder, people are gunning for you because they know, hey, man, this guy's supposed to be the top prospect in the Royals organization, the Tigers organization. I want to get some hits off him, right? Same thing in the recruiting process in high school. Hey, this guy's committed to school X, school B, school Y, wherever the case may be. I want to make my name for myself and say, hey, I went 2 for 3 off him.
That's right.
And when you do that, and college coaches are out watching, they start to notice that saying, hey, this is supposedly the best pitcher in the state. And all of a sudden the hitter goes 2 for 3 against him with 2 doubles. You're thinking, all right, well, that's got to be a pretty good hitter. And then you start to build that resume a little bit and you kind of put 2 and 2 together. Then you go out and watch them again, and you kind of like them. So it's just funny how, that the baseball community is so tight and so small knit that some guy recommends somebody else that knows somebody else, and all of a sudden, you get that exposure. So I always think if you're the best player on the field every single day, people are going to find out about you. You can say, I'm from a small school. You can say, I don't have this. You can say that. But if you're the best player on the field every single day, people will notice you. And I think it's really cool to talk to our guys too. You never know who's in the stands. You never know who's in the dugout that their brother is a cross-checker. You don't know whose uncle is a GM. And you can't let that kind of determine how you play your game and how you go about your business. But I think every day you kind of have that professional mindset of, hey, I'm going to be the best I can be. because I'm trying to help my team win, number one. But number two, you never know who's out there kind of watching. But to kind of go back to answer your question, I have recommended guys at the junior college level. At the Division I level, we're only allowed 35 guys on our roster. You know, you'll go out and you'll see 10,000 guys throughout the summer, and you'll take that list of 10,000 and try to put it maybe to 500, and then from 500 you try to whittle it down a little bit, and then eventually you start running out of some room, and you're saying, all right, how can we make this work? You know, if this guy gets drafted, for example, we've had some high school guys get drafted. I'm not sure if they're going to sign or not 9 months before the draft. You may have a junior on your team that you're thinking, all right, if he's healthy, I think he's going to get drafted. But if he gets drafted, now it comes down to signability. Will he sign in the 13th round? Will he come back for his senior year in the 20th round? You're trying to project the future, and no one has that crystal ball. So I will absolutely say, hey, we may not have a spot for you today, and your options are, hey, maybe hang tight until May, or maybe, hey, go to this local junior college and then let us, you know, continue to watch and evaluate you. And then if your grades are good, maybe we get you after 1 year. You know, if you're there for 2 years too, we can kind of keep tabs on you. So absolutely, I think you know, professional scouts do that too. They kind of do their homework with the high school kids, and they say, all right, if he stays local within my region, I can go back and follow him, even though he's not draft eligible as a freshman. I may not bring out the radar gun, I may not do this, but I want to go over there and see how he's progressed, and then see him his sophomore year, then see him his junior year, and then this draft year. Obviously, you know, there's a lot riding on that year, but you've kind of done your homework leading up to it, so you feel a little bit more comfortable, you know, with that offer, with being able to draft a guy. And ultimately it's an investment in that player from that organization or from that college.
Man, that's a nugget right there, man. Parents, I hope you are listening to my boy right now, man. He's shooting that fire. And if you think what he's saying right now, man, just give him a little hashtag nugget over there if you're getting these nuggets that my man is spitting to you guys right there. All right. And I appreciate that. So anyway, I want to, because you got some family ties. People have been asking, I guess like you said. So my boy Andre David is a coach, a longtime coach in the Royal system. He said, D Brown, what's up? He said, are you related to Gene Ruth?
So Gene Ruth's my dad.
Gene Ruth is your dad?
He's my father. Yep.
Okay. All right. See. So
yeah. So my dad played 3 years in the big leagues. Played for the Cardinals and Expos, and won a World Series in '82. And he's been with the Tigers since '85, and just retired about a month and a half ago. So he was with the Tigers for 35 plus years.
Yeah.
So when you're in a baseball family, you know, I remember growing up, I wouldn't see my dad from February 15th till Labor Day, right? Because that's the minor league season, which is okay. It's cool. You're telling your friends that, hey, my dad's a major league coach, a professional coach. He was in the big leagues from '92 to '94 with Sparky Anderson. So my parents would take us from Kentucky, and then we would move to Lakeland, Florida for spring training. So I'd go to school down in Lakeland, Florida for 6 weeks, and then I'd come up to Detroit and finish the last 2 months of school up in Detroit. So you're kind of moving to school to school to school. But the cool part about it is I have an older brother that is he's the manager of the AA team with the Diamondbacks right now, but he was 2 years older than me. So Sean, I would try to help my mom out, so I would play on his Little League team. So I'd play up. So it was me playing second, my older brother playing shortstop, who played 4 years at Illinois and then played professionally for 5 years. Then our first baseman was Prince Fielder. Prince Fielder was on their team because Cecil was on their team. So my mom could take us all to the game, Little League game, and then she could all take us all to the big league game. And Prince Fielder at age 10, 11 was the same that you saw Prince Fielder in the big leagues at 30. He just hit the ball a little bit further. I mean, he still smoked the ball.
I heard it. I used to hear these stories about hitting bombs over in Tiger Stadium. Used to hear all these stories.
That's a fact. And he would do it left-handed. He would do it right-handed. We would play on fields that didn't have fences. So we played in the PAL League, and we played on fields that didn't have fences. So when he hit the ball, by the time the right fielder picked the ball, he was already around home. It was just inside the Parker back then. But I say that saying that, you know, when you went to a game or you went to go watch your dad at the ballpark, he would be giving you the fundamentals from a short age. And when you didn't see him, you know, and then we got a little bit older, he became a rover. So we'd kind of come back and forth. He would always come back and make sure you were doing your drills. And he knew right away if you were doing them or not doing them. But I remember, you know, going 0 for 8 on a doubleheader in high school. I called my dad and said, hey, he would always walk me through the at bat, what pitches you swung at, what pitches you went through. And if I rolled over to second base, he knew what I was doing with my swing. If I popped over to left, he knew what I was doing with my swing. So it's cool just to have that relationship with your dad.
Yeah, right.
And for him to kind of critique your swing without even being there. And this is before video. So it wasn't like my mom was in the stands taking video, text them right afterwards. You'd have to tell him you're at bat. So it's just cool to kind of be that. But yeah, my dad is Gene Ruth.
That is that's dope, man. That's that's an awesome story, man. Baseball family for real. Like I know you. I mean, I didn't know your dad, so I know you told me, but yeah. And the moving.
The Royals and Tigers, it's interesting. Even though they're in the same division, like in the major leagues,
right.
I never played against them in the minor leagues, like in A-ball, rookie ball, high A, low A.
Where was low? You guys are in Midwest League, right? Where are you
Midwest
guys?
League was West Michigan, so that's why I was asking if you were in like Burlington.
Right. Okay, so the Royals with Burlington when you were there?
It was when I was there. So maybe we played them for a little bit here or there, but. My last year in high A, so just for the viewers, my last year in high A was Lakeland. Lakeland and Tampa are about 30 minutes away. We played the Tampa Yankees 24 times in 1 year. Yeah. 24 times in 1 year. So you're talking about you got 80 at bats on a guy, and guys get called up, sent down, released, but it's like, all right, we're playing Tampa again.
Right. Yeah, I heard that Florida State League is tough, man. Weather and good travel though. I heard it's good travel. That's good.
The travel's great. The stadiums are great. It gets hot, but if you're baseball, you can't complain.
Yeah, right. I just you guys been at Lakeland forever, high A, man, forever, man. But
for sure. So they've actually flip-flopped it now. So now high A is going to be in West Michigan, and low A is the Florida State League. So
really?
I think it's going to save some money. So for the guys that are in the extended, instead of sending them to West Michigan, you just send them across the street. You have that. So you're going to see it kind of fluctuate a little bit, but. What about you? What was your favorite place to play in the minor league, stadium wise or city wise?
City wise, stadium wise, my high A it was the toughest league I ever played in, but it was from Wilmington, Delaware, high A or Carolina League. And Wilmington, and I at the time my parents still lived in New York, so it was a 2-hour ride up the street. People could come down and check us out. Travel was okay, and we won a lot. There. But spent a year and a half in that damn league. But I just Double A and Triple A. Triple A was tough. Double A was always a cakewalk to me. But
really?
Double A was like the Carolina League was way tougher than Double A to me. And we played in a little bandbox in Wichita. They moved now, but back then it was a bandbox, and Wilmington was huge. You know what I'm saying? So it was. Yeah, it wasn't even. You probably bet. Did you ever make it out to Wichita? Because they had the big Jayhawk Double A.
Yes.
I mean,
so
Jucos thing or something on there, right?
Yeah, I played in the NBC out there. They have that summer league out there in Wichita, which was pretty cool. We actually played a game at 3 a.m, which was fun to play baseball at 3 a.m. So we were scheduled to play at like 11 or 10, and it got rain, and then you're kind of like ready to get on the bus, and then you're like eating, and you're trying to. At that point, you were just taking some energy drinks, and you said, "All right, let's strap it on, boys."
Right. I hated when you guys came. We'd be on the road for like 2+ weeks. You know what I'm saying? And oh my God, just pack up.
I saw your stats. One of those years in the minor leagues, you hit 25 jacks and stole 30 bases. There's not too many guys that do that in the same year.
Yeah, man. That was my heyday back in the day, man. I was, you could run, and a lot of people look at my size now and be like, "Man, dude, you couldn't still know." I'm like, "Don't get it twisted. Your boy could run back in those days."
Yeah,
you know
what I'm saying? Baseball card. Look at the back of it.
Yeah, right. To let them know, man. But we have some. So we have some. Let me see questions coming in. All right. What's up, George? Out of New Mexico. George says, how many Jucos do you recruit each year?
That's a great question. I think it depends on our roster. Every year it kind of changes a little bit. I think what we try to do with our recruiting class, especially, is we don't want to get too heavy one side or the other. We don't want to bring in 15 high school guys. We don't want to really bring in 15 junior college guys. So this past year, I think we brought in 3. The year before that, I think we brought in 2. So it's generally between 1 and maybe 4. But again, if you have a lot of seniors on your roster, if we're graduating 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 seniors on our roster, I don't want to go out there and get 10 freshmen and then say, all right, let's give them a year to kind of figure things out at the college level. Let's maybe break it up a little bit. Let's get 7 high school guys and 3 junior college guys. And now you got a little bit of both. You got the young guys that are, super talented, but then you also have some pretty established college players. Even though that establishment may not be at the Division I level, they've kind of faced that atmosphere. They faced a guy that maybe has been a first rounder. They've gone to and played in a World Series. They've been to games where there's been scouts in the stands, and they don't really have that fear. And they maybe have 300, 400 at-bats underneath them. They may have 100 innings underneath them too. And those stats may be a little bit more credible and relatable than the high school guys' stats. You may see the high school guys' stats that we have. Guy will hit 500, guy will hit 550. It doesn't translate that to that way at the Division I level. I wish it was. They wish it were too. But you can kind of see a little bit more of those numbers correlate to our level with the junior college level. So yeah, roughly around 2 to 3, depending on our needs. We may have a couple years ago, we had our junior shortstop, Max Schumann, get drafted. Well, when you're doing through this whole recruiting process, you're thinking, all right, Max's junior year, maybe he's drafted, maybe he doesn't. But if he comes back his senior year, we've got a pretty good shortstop our senior year that we can kind of lean on. Now, once he gets that opportunity and gets drafted, then we're kind of saying, hey, if the opportunity presents itself, take that opportunity and run with it and go play professional baseball. But then we got to go out and find an impact guy to help us out right then. And then at that point, it's June or July. You're kind of just trying to go through all the connections that you have with those coaches to see who's available and who can maybe play short for you if you're in a pinch.
Man, all right, I love it. We got a few more coming in, Coach. Let me move it up here. Makai, let me just, Coach, when we get in there, let me just show my little love from people in there. I usually, I've been getting there. So, let me start from the beginning. All right. What up, Keish out in Texas? Vincent was good. All right. Jansen, Michigan in the house. What's up? Keenan, what's up? Arkansas in the house. Robert from Miami was good. Herman, Texas was good. George, New Mexico. Nadine, ATL, what's up? Frederick, Texas in the building. All right. Coach Terrence, what's up, baby? Mississippi in the house. Brad, what's good? J. Meyer, Wisconsin in the house. Bubba, Alabama in the house. Tia, H-Town in the house. What's up? Sridhar, what's up? Virginia in the house. Sergio, what's up? ATL in the house. Lincoln, Hawaii in the house. Rodney was good. H-Town in the house. Yamina was good. Arkansas in the house. Mike Barbosa, Canada in the building. All right. And let's go. All right, here we go. And I know I'm missing many more of you guys, but D-Rob and Cali, George and Memphis. And I know, all right, if I miss you, just forgive me. All right, so Robert says, how are they recruiting now with COVID?
That's another great question. So since mid-March, so COVID happened for us when we were probably about 12 to 15 games into our season. Since mid-March, we've been in a dead period. A dead period for us means we can't go on the road to recruit, and we can't have recruits come to us. So that they can't meet with us. We can't have a camp. We can't have lessons. We can't have games. We can't have anything on campus. So for us, it's really big to make sure you have those relationships that we talked about with the high school coaches, the summer ball coaches. Now with social media, it's a little bit easier because there's some games that are streamed. So earlier this summer, we literally sat on our couch and we're watching stream games with a stopwatch, and it had multiple cameras. They would come up with the radar gun. It's not great. I don't think any coach likes it. I don't think any player likes it, but it's better than the alternative of no video, no streaming. So we literally would make calls and we'd say, hey, there's this event's coming up this week. We got this event coming up next week. Granted, we're not getting in our cars and going anywhere, but we try to organize our day and organize our schedule to make sure we can see them through that stream. And then after the game's over, if it's a kid that we can contact, a high school senior that we can contact, we would call them after the event. Maybe text the summer ball coach. Maybe text the high school coach and say, hey, if it's a kid that's younger than that, have them call us and kind of open up that dialogue. We can't talk to them till their junior year, September 1st of their junior year, with us calling them. So they would have to contact us. So you kind of go through that third party for them to get to us. But it really came down to social media, number one. And then I give a lot of credit to a lot of recruiting services, a lot of tournaments, a lot of just platforms that were able to get the exposure that they needed to the kids. Because the people that our current players, they got a year of eligibility back. So although it kind of sucked for our guys and it was really tough, they still get another year to come back and play if they want to. The kids that really suffer for it are the high school kids. They don't get their senior year back. They don't get their junior year back. They don't get their sophomore year back. They lose that year. So by losing that year, now they're up against the clock a little bit to get seen, to get evaluated. Their sophomore year is a big year. Their junior year is a big year. Every year is a big year. But if we're not able to see them in person, they're kind of missing out on that opportunity. And then the second part to it, because our guys got a year of eligibility back, there is going to be a little bit of a logjam. There's going to be some spots that are going to be tight for a couple years because our guys are on the roster for 5 years. Where usually they're on the roster for 4 years. They get graduated, and then they go out and either play professional baseball or do something else with their degree. So there is going to be a logjam where spots are going to be a little bit tougher to get. But typically it's been from phone calls and through social media, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you got, and then any type of platform that you can watch those games. So it's been tough. I mean, watching a stopwatch or having a stopwatch watching film, you can't tell if a guy's a 4.2 or 4.3 runner, depending on the lag and everything, but you try to just make the best judgment you can and then match that video with those connections that you have, and then maybe some metrics, maybe an exit speed, maybe a velocity, maybe a pop time, whatever the case may be for your program that's important to you.
All right. So Coach Ruth made me do it. All right. I promise you, he twisted my arm and he was just talking about this, right? So like I said, all right, speaking of exposure and he feeling bad for these high school kids. All right, Coach, I know you ain't had nothing to do with this, but it was just a perfect segue for me to kind of get into this. All right. So listen, all right. I was gonna do it at the end, but it's right what he's talking about. Right? All jokes aside, this is why I do what I do. So if you are in the Alabama area, all right, in and around, I'm having a showcase January 23rd, all right, in Montgomery, Alabama, where I will be live streaming it. Coach, if I know you may be practicing, whatever, I'll reach out to you. If you can get on the live stream, you want to look at some of these kids down in the South, you know what I'm saying? Please, I'll add you to the list of schools that will be listening on the live stream. But my point is, I'll have some D2 and JCs in attendance. But my point is what Coach just said. You see how tough it's been, all right, for him to do the recruiting, the stopwatch, even though he hates it, he has to do it. You know what I'm saying? Especially for D1 programs. So that's why we're having this showcase. All right. I just wanted to kind of pump that up right there. I'm going to talk about it a little bit at the end, but it was just a perfect segue because Coach just talked about how much that, it has helped him the little bit that they can do out here during these current times. I know he can't wait for May to get out there and get on his normal schedule and out in the streets and get to see these guys, man. But in the meantime, live stream is what it is. So you just heard it from the horse's mouth. Coach Ruth just said how much the live stream has helped and what they do. So all right, so Coach, I'm having a showcase down in Alabama, man.
Just to add to that too, it's really easy to make an excuse, right? It's really easy when things don't go your way to kind of give a little bit of excuse. Hey, Coach didn't help me out. I didn't have the big time bat or glove. My parents couldn't buy me. I had to get a second job, but I think if you really want something, you find a way to make it happen. So if you really want to play at the next level, you may have to work a little bit harder than someone else. That's okay. But guess what? That's going to make you better years down the road. So kudos to you for putting this on and doing this to help guys. But don't be the guy that wants to be average, because it's easy to be average. It's easy to kind of make that excuse and say, hey, it's cold outside. There's some snow on the ground. I'll hit tomorrow, right? Somebody is out there outworking you.
Hey, I had a dad.
You just put in the work.
I had a dad said to a coach, man. I had a coach out there, dad, tell me, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I don't know if you can make it down there. Alabama, it's gonna be cold down there. And I'm like, you Michigan, I'm New York, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's gonna be every bit about 50-some degrees. You know what I'm saying? And he gonna, it's gonna be cold out there, whatever. Here he is. He got a senior who ain't committed yet. And I'm like, all right, hey, it is what it is. You ain't gotta come. I'm just providing the service. Come on out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it may be a little cold out there, whatever. I'm like, I'm sorry, it can't be May and June. If it's May and June, your son ain't getting no scholarship or anything out there. So, but Anyway, I'm glad you said that. I'm just piggyback off you because you know what I'm saying we working together over here, man. I like it, man. You know, gave me the layup right there. All right. Mike says, do you recruit in Ontario, Canada? If
We
so,
do.
what options are there to make tuition more affordable for international student athletes?
Yeah, that's another great question. We do. We actually have a current player on our team from Ontario. So from Ypsilanti to Detroit's about 45 minutes. From Detroit into Canada, you're right across the bridge. So I consider Canadian kids very similar to like the kids from Ohio. They're very close. So we try to have some good relationships with some programs in Canada. But the international price for students are the same price as the domestic kids. So the kids from the United States. So the $25,000 total cost for everything is also included anywhere in the United States, but also internationally. So it's really big for us to recruit there. There's a lot of great baseball players. One of the guys that comes to mind for me is Chris Robinson. Chris Robinson played with my brother at Illinois, and he does an academy with the Great Lakes Canadians out in Canada. And it's really local. It's not too far away. A pre-COVID year, the Division I schools are allowed to play some exhibition games against some international teams, and they're a team that comes down and plays against us. So we're able to play against them and see what type of players they have, and allows us to play someone else in another dugout. But we definitely do recruit in Ontario and in Canada. And again, a traditional year with no COVID and no dead period or a smaller amount of dead period, we're out. We go to events in Canada as well. So I got to make sure my passport's good so I can cross the border and go see some of the players over there.
It's a different breed out there, man. I know you guys, right? Windsor is right across, right there, right? You know,
right there.
So,
it's right there. You got a lot of hockey guys. You got a lot of left-handed hitters, so I like it.
yeah. All right. We got Canada, and now we're gonna get my boy Jay Meyer out in Wisconsin. Do you ever get over the pond to Wisconsin to recruit?
Another great question. Wisconsin's one of the spots that I hope we can get out to a little bit more. I know they have great baseball players. They have some really good high school academies. So high school in the springtime, it's a little bit tougher for us to get a little bit further away because not only are the high school kids playing, but so are we. We're also playing. So we're going to play on a Tuesday and the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the games that we try to get to is on our off day. Our off day is typically on Monday. So the games that we try to get out to a non-COVID year is typically within a couple hours so we can get out and come back and not miss practice and not miss a game. But we have one current player on their team from Wisconsin. Wisconsin only has, I think, University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee as a Division I program, but they have really, really good junior colleges. So that's a spot that we want to kind of continue to expand into. But currently one guy on our team since the maybe 5-6 years that I've been here, and we'd like to get a little bit more into it.
All right. Yeah. Great information, Coach Ruth. Baseball is a small world. You never know who's connected to who. All right. That was from a previous statement you made. All right. Dennis says, are you guys having any prospect camps?
So the prospect camps kind of fall into that dead period that we were talking about. Since March, mid-March, the NCAA came out and said that we're going to be in dead period. And originally they put it out there until end of April. And then end of April came to beginning of June. Beginning of June came to August. So with the dead period, we can't have any type of camps. So that means the only camps I guess we could potentially do, hypothetically, would be non-high school camps. For us, there's still some logistical issues just with testing and protocols on campus that we've kind of stirred away from it. I do know this, as soon as the coast is clear from the NCAA that the dead period is over, we will absolutely have a camp. So right now, I think the dead period is April 15th. As soon as April 15th comes and the NCAA says, yep, you're now good, we'd absolutely do a camp for multiple reasons, mainly to bring recruits on campus so we can see them and evaluate them in person rather than going out and seeing one player, right? Try to bring X amount of players to you rather than going out and just seeing one guy basically per day. So stay tuned to that. I guess that's just going to fall on the NCAA a little bit, and then maybe any protocols, any testing behind that.
All right. I'm going to piggyback off of this. I just want to make sure I hit the question. I know you just said it, but Coach Ruth, do you have showcase dates for 2021? Son is in Ohio, but it's a short trip.
Yeah. So that's the main reason why we want to do it. We're in a great location. We're an hour from Lansing. We're 2 hours from Grand Rapids. We're 4 hours from Indy. We're 3 hours from Cleveland. We're probably 4 hours from Chicago. So it's a great radius where there's a lot of great baseball players around looking for that exposure, looking to play at the next level. And again, once the NCAA kind of takes the reins off of the dead period, then we're going to be able to do it. Right now, our hands are a little bit tied with what they're having us do and not being allowed to do. But typically, in a normal year, we'd have 2 prospect camps in the fall, and typically we would have them on Sundays. The reason why we do them on Sundays is a lot of the guys that we recruit play multiple sports. When you play multiple sports, the most common sport, it's kind of like you, D, you also play football, right? So you're playing football on the Friday. If we have camp on Saturday, that prospect's not going to be kind of up to his A game and getting the notice that he needs to look. So we figure Sundays are a little bit better for us. So we typically have 2 in the fall, and they're on Sundays. So if you can't make one day, you can make another day, maybe a week later or 2 weeks later. And then we usually do a pro scout camp in January. That one allows us to kind of prep and say, all right, let's bring a couple major league scouts in so they can kind of help run the camp. It also allows us to say, hey, we already have been talking to a handful of guys. Let's see if there's anybody else that need to be on our high priority from when the springtime comes. We can go out and watch games. Again, once we're playing, we generally in the springtime are only able to get out to 1 high school event per week because we're practicing 6 days a week and we're playing 4 days a week. So we're playing or practicing every day except for one day. So that one day is an opportunity for the players to kind of rest up, maybe do some lifting, maybe do some recovery in the some treatment in the rehab room. But the coaches can go out and hit the road. So that camp in January allows us to kind of market, all right, who are going to be our high guys that we need to see, top priority guys that we need to see in the springtime, and make that a high priority to say, hey, these 5 guys came to our camp. We established that they're one of the better players. And number 2, we need to see them right away. And then once our season's over, then in the summertime, we can be on the road and be out watching games almost 7 days a week. And it's a little bit easier to see the rest of the guys that may have had some interest in our program. But typically 2 in the fall, 1 in the winter. And then we generally have done something a little bit new, have another camp in like May. Let's say, maybe the kid was playing basketball in January and couldn't come to our basketball camp. Maybe have one in May where he's trying to get that junior college player that put up some really good numbers, and he couldn't go out and travel because his team was already practicing. They're going to probably play a little bit before us, so they may even practice a little bit before us. And their coach may say, hey, you got to be at every practice that you have, so you can't leave our practice to go to a Division I camp. So we try to do one more in May just to kind of have that last chance opportunity to get the exposure if maybe you feel like you missed out on it. And then for us, if it's not the senior or the junior college sophomore, maybe it gives us a head start on a high school junior or high school sophomore, and then we can kind of hit the ground running into the summer.
All right, good deal. Vince, what's up? North Carolina in the house, baby. Jamie, what's going on? Phoenix is in the house. Pookie, what's up? Alabama in the house. See you in a few weeks. All right. Marcus, what's up? SoCal in the house. Big Luke, what's up? Dr. Will Cox. All right. Sound crazy me saying that, but shout out to Luke out there in Michigan. All right, TC, what's up, Nashville? All right, he says 50-degree hitting today. That's right, it ain't too cold, and your son is already committed. That's my whole point. You out there hitting, it ain't too cold out there. It doesn't snow here in Phoenix, but cold will never stop us getting that work in. That's what I'm saying. If you want it, like Coach said, if you want it, you're going to go and get it done. All right, so what up, CT in Australia? All right, Tiffany, Michigan in the house. What's up? All right, Greg, was good? All right, okay. All right. Few more coming in now. Let me stop talking around my mouth so get these questions in. All right. Jan says, how many seniors are coming back? What about Timco?
Yeah, this guy's doing some research. Yeah, so Timco's coming back. We got several guys coming back. We did have a couple guys that pursued other opportunities. Once their year was done, we had some guys that were in grad school or some other job opportunities once they finish their degree. But Timco is one of our guys coming back, and should be a good player for us. He's worked his tail off. He's healthy, which is good, and who knows? He may have a chance to play, beyond college. We got some pro guys taking a look at him too. So had a good year for us last year and the year before. So we're expecting big things out of him.
All right. Tiffany says, with the pop time, that is a D1 level. Knowing part-time is not in be all. What tools do you look for from a catcher? What makes a catcher stand out in video? And I think it's easier in game to stand out, but what in the video are you looking for?
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think it's a lot easier to see in person than in video. Right now, we don't have that option. I'll start off with this: the major league average for a pop time at the major league level, the highest level in the world, the average is a 2.0. Okay, so I know sometimes catchers get excited about a 1.9 and a 1.8, and I've seen some 1.7s. I heard about this and I heard about that. The major league average, the best catchers in the world, 2.0. Okay. On top of that, I like to call it the tag time too. So the pop time is from catcher's mitt to infielder's mitt. So shortstop, second baseman, whoever's covering the back. But I also like to think about it a little bit more than just the pop time. Also think about the tag time. And what I mean by that, it's not just when the catcher catches the ball to when the infielder can actually put the tag on the ground. So if I throw a 1.8, but I bounce every other ball into second base, I'm relying on my shortstop to catch it, field it cleanly, and then put the tag down. And if he's a good infielder, he's going from low to high. So now he catches it on the way up. The clock stops, but the tag hasn't started yet, right? So now it takes another 0.2 seconds to get it back down. So I say that, which is saying also the consistency of it. If a guy has a 1.9 pop time, that's great. I just want that to be really consistent. As a coach, you want your players to be super consistent. As a player, you pride yourself on being consistent. You may not, hit a home run every at bat, but you feel really comfortable when you go to the box. You're going to swing at strikes and you're going to hit a ball hard. And basically, you kind of pride yourself on that. Some other stuff that I look at, just me personally, I like the athletic catchers. I like the catchers that can move around a little bit. The days and the years in the past where you had the bigger catcher or the catcher that was a little bit slower behind the plate, I think are a little bit more in the past. The athletic catchers that may not be fast, but they're quick. So you put a stopwatch on them, home to first, or stopwatch on them on their 60. Maybe they're not running the 6.9. Maybe they're not running the 6.8, but they're quick. That first step is quick. They're moving quick. They can get the balls quick. And what that allows you to do, the higher you climb the ladder, the mound and home plate doesn't move back anymore. Once you get to high school, it's 60 feet, 6 inches. High school to the big leagues. But what happens is guys start throwing harder. So guys start throwing harder, less time to react, hitting and also catching. As a catcher, you're calling the pitches, obviously, so you know if a fastball is coming or a curveball is coming, but you're going to have to react a lot quicker than you were in high school. So the quickness factor with the catcher being able to move left, move right, stay there, throw a guy out, block the ball in the dirt, little things like that. The other thing that I really like looking in a catcher is what type of hands he has. I know the pop time is a metric that a lot of coaches like, and that's going to measure basically arm strength and release. So your quickness of getting the ball out of your glove, and then the arm strength, which is a great measurement. But I also like to see the hands, the receiving part of it, making sure if the pitch is a strike, it stays a strike. The framing's become bigger and bigger in the last 5 years, but just making sure guys are able to receive it and catch guys. I work with our catchers. I was a catcher myself. So my big thing is I like catchers that make the pitchers look better. My job is to make him look better, make him look as good as he needs to be. And sometimes that means different things for different guys. There's certain pitchers that you may have to get on. There may be certain pitchers that you may have to pump up. There may be certain pitchers that you have to, give them a certain style or coaching to maximize his ability. But I like looking at the receiving part of things to see his hands. When you get to a 1-1 count, if that pitch is a ball because the catcher caught it incorrectly, that changes the complete outcome of that at bat. Now it's a 2-1 count. If it's a 1-1 count and the catcher did his job and made it a strike and it stayed a strike, now that hitter's in a hole and he's got a 1-2 count on him, and his chances of getting a base hit are a lot smaller. So just the receiving part is a huge part for me. Blocking's also big, but if I were just to rank them, obviously they're all important, but the receiving would go a little bit ahead of the throwing part for me. And that's just the defense. That's just the defense. We didn't even get to the hitting part or the intangible part, pitch calling, how he handles the pitching staff, how he controls the game, the communication skills, etc. So that was just the defensive part there.
I hope if anybody had any catchers out there, I hope that last 2 or 3 minutes over there you was taking extreme notes. All right, my girl Tiffany said You know, catcher. That's right. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You just gave a clinic right there. All right. I hope y'all was listening. If I had to, again, I'll be the DJ horn right there for the nuggets that he just spit right there. All right, on the catching side. I didn't know that. I ain't think about the whole catch and tag. I didn't, you know, because I'm like pop, like, you know, like everybody else. I ain't think about that. That was good information for me.
When you're still in the base, D, you're thinking, all right, what is he to the plate, right? What's the time? And you're like, all right, he's a 1-4, so I'm probably gonna, you know, if I got the green light, I'm looking to run. I don't care if it's a fastball or a curveball. If it's a 1-4, I'm going. And then you're looking at the pop time. So those are two equations, but it's more complicated than just as simple as sometimes it sounds.
I love it. Like I said, never stop learning in this game, man. Never stop learning. All right. Robert says, Coach, are you recruiting 2024s?
24s would be really, really early in the process. We're recruiting everything, to be honest. We're recruiting 21s and 22s are kind of our main bread and butter right now. But if there's a 23 out there that has interest in us, then we have interest in them. If there's a 24 out there that has interest in us, we have interest in them. So to answer your question, we haven't had any offers to a 24, but it's right around the corner. Once we get to the summertime, I'm sure it's going to be right there. I can't speak for everyone else, but I know a lot of Power 5s are already on 24s and 25s and so on.
This is crazy.
Luckily for me, that gets a little too young. You're trying to evaluate an 8th grader and what's he going to be like 8 years from now, 4 years of high school, 4 years of college.
Right. I love it. I love it. All right. Greg says, during this COVID period, so you recommend that players call coaches as opposed to just relying on email communication?
That's another great question. I would say a little bit of both. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all to anything in the recruiting process. I think it's going to vary. It could vary your interest in that coach. If you're interested in that coach or that program is, hey, this is the school that I want to go to, then maybe it gets a little bit more serious quicker. I think for us, we're talking to hundreds upon thousands of kids. I can't call every guy. I can't respond to every call. So sometimes it's email. Sometimes it's my assistants. But I think the number one thing with that question is that you stay in contact, constant contact. Whether, you know, you went to a showcase and your pop time improved. You know, you jumped on the scale and said, hey, I gained 5 pounds, Dad. Like, yes. You know, like, let's tell the coach. You do some training and your 60 time drops a little bit. You want to give them access to, you know, the stuff that you've improved on, because we're trying to gauge how that development's going. Are they developing in an uphill battle, or are they starting to kind of taper off a little bit and kind of working backwards a little bit? So I think you can kind of contact both those coaches. Just realize, if you are a freshman or sophomore in high school, we can't contact you back. So you call us and you leave a message, you shoot us an email. I have to just kind of have a generic response back. Hey, thanks for the email. Unfortunately, I can't contact you back until September 1st, your junior year. So just understand that, and that's a Division I rule. That's not, you know, a Division II rule, Division III rule, NAI rule, junior college rule. So it could be different depending on what program you're talking to.
All right. Thank you. Savior says, if someone is interested in your program, what should the player do?
Yeah, if you're interested in our program and you have interest in Eastern Michigan, I think you should reach out to one of our coaches, either me, the head coach, our assistant coach, or our recruiting coordinator, AJ Octor. AJ Octor played in the big leagues, played with me in college a little bit, so he played 5-6 years in professional baseball. Or my brother, who's on staff too, and he's an assistant coach, Jonathan Ruth. So get in contact with us, just so we can put a name with a face and put some skill to them. So send us some video.
Send us Instagram, Twitter, or something, or email that I could share with the community right now, Coach?
Yeah, I usually use Twitter the most, and it's Turn Up the Heat 15. I think you would like that one, D. It's Turn Up the Heat 15. That was one as a player, and I just kept it. And it's stuck. Or you can email me at eroof@emich.edu. So there's my email. There's my Twitter account. I don't do as much with the Facebook.
Turn Up the Heat. You said that right?
Yeah, Turn Up the Heat 15.
All right. And then E-Roof, East Michigan.
Emich, E-M-I-C-H.
I got you. Yeah. Michigan.
Pretty simple to get a hold of me.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. When I emailed you just now before, Also, I like his Ruth. That's easy. That was Lord. That was the easiest email ever right there.
Yep.
Some of these last names and schools is like Lord have mercy.
Letters, numbers.
Right, right. So all right, I am posting it right now. This is the email. All right, Ruth at Michigan.edu. Did I do it right, Coach?
No, it's EMICH, so EMICH.edu. So
Come on, D Brown. Lord. All right.
you had it though. Right
yeah.
there.
All right. I know it looked funny. All right, and then my favorite all-time Twitter so far out of all the coaches, man. We gotta go here, man. Let's all right. Let's go right here, man. Turn up
Yep.
the heat. All right, 15. All right, that's the Twitter. All right, and that is the email. All right, so I hope you guys are right, and it's in the comment section. So, listen, we got a handful of questions, Coach, and I hope we get through them and let me know. 5 minutes or so. I'll get through these questions.
No, happy to answer them.
All right, cool. All right, just remember, if you ask one or two, I'm gonna try to get them all in. But if you asking 2, 3, 4, 5 at a time, I don't know. All right. So here we go. With the backlog of rosters, what advice would you give high school seniors? They may sit 2 years before playing. Should they go JUCO and play, or go to a prep school, or just take a gap year and start a year later?
Yeah, that's another good question. I think it's going to vary guy by guy. I know that's not the answer they're going to be looking for, but I think you want to go somewhere that you can develop and play right away. Develop and play right away is really key. So try to find the right fit, and that right fit's big for you, just like you as a player. It's also a right fit for us as a coach. So making sure it meets with our needs. For example, if we already have 4 catchers, we're probably not going to look into bringing a catcher. If we have a couple infielders, we may not look to bring in a couple infielders. So it's going to vary guy by guy. I think, like I said before, if you're the best player on the field every single time you're on the field, you're going to get noticed. So you want to make sure you're going somewhere to, number one, get your degree. I think it's really important to go somewhere you get you that degree, that you have something in case an injury comes, or maybe you don't have the success that you want to have and get to that step you have. But I think you want to go somewhere where you can play and you can contribute to a program. So that's going to vary guy by guy. I don't think you should be discouraged because things may not work out to be like your perfect plan. Like, this is my dream school. This is the way it should be. I want to be drafted out of high school, but then I want to go to college and I want to be a starter every day for my freshman year, and I want to be all team, first team as my freshman year. And then I want to be a top 5 rounder or first rounder like UD later in my career. But find the right fit. Find the right fit for you. And that kind of deals with maybe program, maybe it could be location, being closer to home, further away from home. Find a coach that you kind of, build off of, and you kind of build that relationship, that personality. And it's got to be mutual. I think the guys that we go after, I don't want them to be just satisfied with being a Division I player. If they're satisfied with just being there, we didn't get the right guy. I want them to now say, hey, I want to be an everyday starter. I want to make the travel roster. I want to be drafted my junior year. I want to be drafted. I want to play professional baseball. Once I get to professional baseball, I want to play in the big leagues. Like, you're constantly pushing yourself. You're happy where we're at and your feet are at, but I also, still staying hungry to get to that next level, because, once you're in this game, the success that you have can easily be taken away from you the next day. So just that constant fire and that constant fight every single day. When you show up to the field, you show up to the park, that, hey, you got something to prove. I may have started the last 10 days, but hey, man, my spot can easily be gone, and I can easily be on the bench. So just kind of pushing yourself. And then when you do that individually, it also helps the team collectively. You're constantly pushing yourself to say, hey, not only do I want to make myself better, but I want to make my teammate better, because the better my teammates are, I bat, and then I have to wait 8 times before I get to bat again. More guys get drafted, the better the team is. More guys win championships, the more guys that have successful players, etc. So that goes from the high school level to the college level to professional level. Your AAA team's probably pretty good if you're getting guys called up to the big leagues left and right. So you can kind of break that down at any level of baseball. The better the individuals are going to be, the better the teams is, and then the better the team is, the more the individuals can also succeed as well.
Another nuggets he dropping on y'all, man. God, I hope y'all listening. All right. Do you like to look at a kid that plays multiple positions or specific position?
That's another great question. I like the versatility. I kind of mentioned a little bit with the catchers. If you get a guy that only plays third base, if you get a guy that only plays second base, if you get a guy that only plays left field, what ends up happening is when you play against another team, if they have a really talented right-handed pitcher or left-handed pitcher, let's just say a left-handed pitcher, you may want to combat that by putting a little bit more right-handers in your lineup. So if the kid can only play third base, that kind of sticks, and you get stuck with your roster and how you can kind of present that lineup. Now, if you have a guy that is just a really good infielder and he can play short and can play third and can play second, now when you're facing that tough left-handed pitcher, you can slide him over to third. Now you can put this guy over at short. Now the DH can maybe move to second base, whatever the case may be, and it opens up that possibility a little bit. And what you're seeing this evolve in the big leagues a lot more. DJ LeMahieu is a really talented major leaguer. He's from right down the road in Michigan. He's one of the best hitters and players in the big leagues, but his value continues to climb because he can play anywhere on the field. You put him at short, he can be one of your best shortstops. You put him at third, he can be one of your best shortstops. Second base and first base. So the athleticism is always huge because I try to build our program kind of more like a National League style of play than an American League style of play. It's not let's sit back and wait for the 3-run home run. It's let's get guys in action. Let's hit and run. Let's steal some bases. Let's go first to third. Let's go ball in dirt. Let's slide this guy over later in the game. Maybe we put a defensive replacement in left field, and then our left fielder can slide the right fielder, and then now you got 3 center fielders out there in the outfield to win a game late in the game. So just trying to kind of like the recruiting process. I like guys that play multiple sports. If a guy's just playing baseball only, his ceiling's a little bit lower than the guy that's playing multiple positions. So I think again it's going to vary guy by guy, but I like the athleticism. I think the athleticism can always help your program.
Man, I love it, man. Oh. Vincent, I hope that answered your question. I know you say what he look for in the corner guys. He just say he wants athletes that can play multiple positions and can run a little bit. So I'm answering your question for you. He just answered it. I'm just piggybacking off what he said. So Coach, if they lift the dead period in April or May during the season, would it be difficult to hold prospect camps during the COVID season?
I don't think so. I think we're all going to be in the same boat as far as soon as the coast is clear and it works with our schedule, we'll be able to kind of make sure we have some type of camp. So if we're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe school's out in May and kids are no longer in school, then we can host a prospect camp on the Monday. If we bump it up and sometimes our last weekend we play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then maybe we could have a camp on Sunday. And let's say this thing gets stretched back a little bit and now it goes to June, then we'll just push back our camp. And then maybe we'll have a camp in June or July. Now the seniors are going to be up against the clock because they're going to be ready to enroll in school by August. And then again, you're going to have some choices there, but I think you kind of fight that battle of just kind of making those excuses. Well, dang it. Of course, this would happen to me my senior year, right? Maybe it's going to make you better and you got to work a little bit harder than you would have worked before. And I can speak to that because again, I went to that junior college my freshman year and my whole goal was to work as hard as I can so somebody could see me and somebody could recognize that I could help them out. I got that opportunity and it made me a better player. If I would have just went to a 4-year school out of high school, I don't think I would have been as good as I ended up being.
All right. Oh, man. We got a couple more questions, Coach. All right. Rodney says, pitching, are you a velocity guy or command guy?
That's another great question. I think that is going to it's going to vary guy by guy. I think you need to bring some factor, some skill to the table that separates you from just the average high school kid. So for us, throwing the velocity in the upper 80s is kind of like, all right, this guy is different than maybe the average high school player. Now, if you're not that guy, that's okay. That doesn't mean we're not going to recruit you if you're not an upper 80s guy. But then I think the command guy has to be way above the average high school player. So if you're the command guy, a couple years ago, we recruited a junior college player that pitched over 100 innings in 2 years total. 100 innings in 2 years he pitched, so about 50 innings per year. I think he had 7 walks in 100 innings. So that right there is a strike thrower. So he's just throwing strikes. Now, he was not at that time an 88 guy. He eventually got there, but that was clearly an outlier to the rest of the field. So don't get discouraged if you're not player A or player B and you think that school only wants player A or player B. If he wants that, then go on to the next school, right? But try to maximize who you are and make your strengths. I always say make your strengths a super strength. If you're a command guy, then you can't go out there and you can't walk guys. You may give up some hits, but I can't walk a guy. And if I'm a velocity guy, all right, maybe I give up some hits, maybe I, give up some walks, but I need my strikeouts to be higher.
All right. A couple more questions, Coach. All right. Let's see. I'm sorry about that. All right. Lord. What kind of video do you prefer, game or practice?
I think both are good. Both the game video, both the practice video are good. Keep it short and sweet. If you're a position player or a hitter, just show me your at bats. If you're practicing, just show me your video. I want to kind of lock in on your video, but it doesn't need to be this long video session that's 30 minutes long and it shows you your first at bat, then it shows your teammates at bats as well. Keep it short and sweet, just so we can evaluate you and kind of give you our honest feedback. It may be, hey, we like what we see, send us your schedule. It may be, hey, send me some more video. It's like, hey, give me your high school coach's information, or hey, here's what I see in your swing. Maybe work on these couple things, and then maybe send me some updates in a couple months. But game video, practice video, both are good.
All right. All right, we got a last question. All right, I'm going to cut it off here. All right, so this is the last question of the day, and Coach, I hope as you're talking, hoping you're reading all the comments.
I am.
Okay, good. All right, I know you were like, how are we going to see these questions? I see they're coming. I told you they were going to be coming. So, my boy Smitty says, do you look at kids that will be in the class of 2025? It's 4 years off. Do you like to get kids on your radar that early?
Yeah. So to start with that question, we're always interested in guys that are interested in us. That's kind of the start of it. I'm not going to waste my time in recruiting a kid that doesn't want to come to Eastern Michigan for whatever reason, and that's wherever I would be at. If there's certain schools that are a fit for certain guys, and there's certain spots that are not a fit for players. So if a player has interest in us, we're absolutely going to have interest in you. Then we need to kind of dig a little bit deeper. We need either more video, we need to see them in person, we need to talk to their coach, high school coach, summer ball coach, middle school coach, whatever the case may be. But it's really never too early in the recruiting process. Now, we haven't offered a 2025, so an 8th grader at Eastern Michigan, and I don't know if we'd offer a 2025-year-old or 2025 class player a year from now, but it's never too early. At least you can kind of start that process. Hey, he came to our prospect camp, he came to our youth camp, and he was in 8th grade and he was competing against high school players. And he said, hey, he wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid of the guy that touched 80. He wasn't afraid of the guy that threw 85. He held his own. If you didn't look at the roster, you wouldn't know that he was in 8th grade. He fit in. So that could kind of help him stand out. But we recruit as soon as we get word that this guy has interest in us. And again, we just try to build off that, evaluate them at a certain point, then maybe see them a couple months later, then see them a couple months later. And then maybe if they came to camp, try to see them in a game. If we saw them in a game, maybe try to bring them to a camp so we can kind of measure some things and take a look at them in a little bit more controlled environment rather than just the game atmosphere, and flip-flop it as well.
All right. All right. All right, Coach. Like I said, man, this is about, man, making new fans out in the streets, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about, man. All right. And great info, Coach. Most helpful. We are itching to take the field over here in Cleveland. All right. All right. So I posted his email. I'm gonna do it again. Okay. So, Coach, if you can, thank you for this interview. Thank you for the nuggets you and dropping. I'm going to always have my guests take us out with a message. All right. So think about that as I say my little pleasantries and get this wrapping on up. All right. So the All right. Thank you so much, Coach D. No doubt. No doubt. All right. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. So that's what I try to do, man. I aim to please and bring on some of the top talented coaches around the country, man, to inform you guys, to keep you well ahead of the curve of what's going on with these guys. All right. These guys take the time out of their day to give you guys to come on the show and give you guys this knowledge. I know you guys appreciate this. And then, I appreciate the coaches doing this. So tomorrow we have Blake Lewis from Lawson State Junior College in Alabama coming on tomorrow. Coach Lewis will be at my showcase on January 23rd, which is an easy segment. You laid it up for me, Coach, in the middle of the interview today, and I'm going to pass it on. So Lawson State Junior College, will be on tomorrow. Coach Blake Lewis, who will be in attendance of my showcase. All right. For you guys that are in and around the Alabama area, I have people coming in from Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, I think, which is right next door, Georgia. All right. So y'all need to come on out in and around the area. All right. Come on down. You heard Coach say it. I'm promoting it. I'm promoting the showcase because you just heard it straight from the Coach's mouth about how much these live streaming type camps have been instrumental in his recruiting, and it's basically what these guys can do right now. It's the only thing they really can do until you can get the young prospects on the camp and he can get out into them streets and look at some of these talent out there. So we got a fun-filled week. We got Lawson State, and then Friday I'm bringing on my boy Muzzy Jackson. Used to be front office Royals guy. Now we're going to talk money. All right, I'm bringing all angles. All right, one of the top financial advisors in the country, went from front office in the Royals. I've known him forever. To now his roster is crazy. You guys have seen some of his guys, first round picks, second round picks that's been on the show. That he's going to come and talk, what it is, man, to keep your money and talk some money on Friday. So I'm anxious to get him on here. I ain't seen my boy talk to him in years, but he's been a listener on the show. So we're going to have some great guests coming on this weekend, man. So, this week, I should say. And we started off with Coach Ruth, all right? You two who took the roof. The roof was on fire. He burned the roof off the house, all right? You know what I'm saying? All right? I know you probably heard that 100 times, right? So, but Coach, if you could, man, always have my guests, take us on out, man. If you could take us out with a great message, man, I would appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Well, first off, D, thanks for having me. Was always a big fan of you as a player, and now even a bigger fan that I get to know you as a person. So good luck to everyone that's watching. Good luck to all the student athletes that are playing. Use D as a resource. Use D as a resource to help them out and help yourself out. I know the last 9 months has been it's been tough, right? It's been tough for our country. It's been tough for us individually. It's been tough for sports fans. It's been really tough. But I think anytime you have maybe a challenge, try to spit that negative into a positive, right? Maybe say, all right, these last 9 months are going to make me a better player and make me a better person because of what you're about to do or what you have done since this pandemic started. So whether that meant you lifted a little bit more, whether maybe you ate a little bit better, maybe you just let your body naturally develop a little bit more because you were 14, 15. Now you're starting to get in puberty and you're starting to grow a little bit. You're starting to maybe fill out a little bit. But anytime something negative happens to you in your life, try to turn it into a positive, because baseball and life kind of go hand in hand, and life and baseball go hand in hand. As soon as you think you have this thing figured out, you get the rug pulled underneath your feet. Okay, so always work your tail off, do the right thing. But more importantly, when something kind of tough happens in your life, try not to take the easy way out and say, oh, of course this would happen to me. Or, you know what, I'm going to wait till tomorrow to do this. One of my big things is I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolution. I think if you have the motivation to lose some weight, then go lose some weight today. If you have the motivation to go put on 10 pounds and have the motivation to do it today, don't wait for something to happen for it to happen. Go make it happen. Go make it happen. And you know what? If that dream school, if that dream opportunity, if that dream job, if that dream girl, whatever the case may be, doesn't work out, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's something better for you at the end of the day and at the end of your time working and getting better. So again, try to turn a negative into a positive. because everyone wants it to happen easy. Everyone wants to happen fast, but it's the guys that have that grit and that perseverance to get through some stuff when some things get a little bit tough and get a little bit frustrating. So just keep working. Good luck to everyone. You know, you got my email. You can follow me on Twitter. Be happy to help you guys out. And D, again, thank you for having me on, and love what you're doing. Keep it up, man.
Listen, man, I appreciate it, man. This is the beauty of this, man. I get to meet great coaches and great dudes. I see us, you know, just chopping it up and talking, and and that's why I like this platform, that I get to meet guys like yourself. So I am truly blessed. I love the message you just gave, man. And no doubt I will be in contact, and let's see if I can help you get, and round up some of these good, talented, players from around the country that parents are listening, and see if I can help you in your program, take it to the next level, man. And, this is, real talk. So my man Denzel voice about the resolution, no doubt, man. He just spit. He just spit. All right, Mark, no doubt about it. So listen, parents, I appreciate you guys. Listen, if you are interested in what I'm going to do, I'm going to start doing, like my boy just gave nuggets upon nuggets. So I will start condensing these interviews and just giving the key points. If you want, all you got to do is just say, hashtag nugget. All right. And what I'll do is give you the notes, the best, information that Coach Ruth has given you. I'll edit it up, chop it up, and send it to you via email. But all you got in the comment section, if you want some of the, essentially the show notes, the show nuggets, and my boy was dropping nuggets over there. All right, especially from the catching side and all of that. All right, so if you want those, just put hashtag nugget in the comment section, and I'll have my team draw up the best nuggets of this show over there, and I'll send it to you via email. So just hashtag nuggets, let me know, and I'll email that, the show, the best of this show. And I'm gonna start doing that for the future with these great guests. All right. Keep me on my toes, because man, sometimes I forget certain things that my man just said, and it'll be a month or so later, I'll listen to the interview, be like, yo, my God, he just spit right there, So yeah, it's just give me hashtag nuggets, and I'll get I'll send a message out to you guys, get your email, and I send that out to you guys by the end of the week. Okay. So this has been a blessing, my brother. And Julia, it's your first time listening in. I appreciate it. And definitely listen in. All right. And that's why I say tag and share this with this. And Coach, if you want, I'll give you the thing. You can share it to your social media handles, man, and get it out there, and grow this thing out there, and keep this growing in knowledge. All right. So parents, I love you guys. Coach Ruth, appreciate it, my brother. Thank you so much again for coming on. And tomorrow we'll be on at 4 p.m. Eastern. All right, 4 p.m. Eastern, I will be on. Coach, appreciate you, my brother.
Sounds good, D. We'll see you, man.
All right, bye.